All right, welcome to another of our streams. I don't know what we're up to. It's like in the 30s or something, isn't it?
Something, yeah. I lost count. More toes and fingers than I have.
Right. And then I understand that you've been working on a GEO plugin,
Yeah.
something that can that help a lot of people who use the internet to get leads and or sell products on websites.
Yeah. So to unpack that a little bit, most people in this world won't have a clue what GEO even means.
I
And
didn't when you first said it the first time. I was like, I have no idea what he's
yeah.
talking about. But then you kept talking. It was like, oh, I have heard somebody else say that phrase before, and I was able to piece it together.
So
But you're,
everybody's
you're right. Most people
familiar.
aren't going to get it.
Well, everyone's familiar with local SEO, which the SEO is search engine optimization. And this is the book I wrote that teaches small business owners all about search engine optimization and how it works. But more important than that, most books teach a bunch of theory. And when I wrote the book, I was like, I hate garbage books, so I'm not going to write one. So the book teaches what an owner should do and then gives them the homework to do it, which is a completely different model for most people. Now, what was important is when AI came out, it changed from being a search engine to now Google will give you the AI overview. And people don't know what to even call this new thing. And so some people call it AI SEO, some call it AEO, some call it GEO, some call it LLM SEO, and there's all these different terms. And so there's this subtle behind the scenes battle of which word is the right word to use. And today GEO is the one that is really the word that people are using, and it stands for Generative Engine Optimization. So if I go out and I ask an AI a question, it's going to use its engine to generate a response. And if you go about things the right way, you can get your information fed into the machine so the machine will spit it back out, just like we used to do with search engines. But now it's these AI engines or LLM engines that are doing that. So that's what GEO is all about.
And so, I mean, this is a pretty major shift. I feel like in the world from what I know, because when internet World Wide Web came into existence in 1994, and people thought it was a fad, and we even had the early 2000s .com crisis where a bunch of overinflated companies completely crashed because they had internet in the name, but they didn't actually provide anything of value.
Right, right. Like tropicalfish.com, one of my favorite
Yeah.
stories. We
And
sell tropical fish. We don't have a website.
so there was that, and then Google came on the scene and became the top dog and replaced Yahoo and Excite and all the other old search engines that some of us might remember using as teenagers.
But it
And
also replaced the phone book.
yes, yeah. I mean, what is the last, like, my children don't even know what a phone book is.
Yeah.
Like, what are the yellow pages? I remember the look on the marketer's face when I shut down like the yellow page accounts for a number of businesses that I was working for. It's like, we don't need you anymore. Like there's no ROI here. But anyway, so that's all changed, and we went through the entire teams pretty much, and things adapted somewhat, but still, I mean, between Google and 15 different names for whatever Microsoft search engine was,
Right.
and then Apple or whatever, like all the different ones. I mean, it was pretty. I mean, the algorithm would change somewhat, and so the SEO people had to learn tips and tricks and ways to get around it, and then they would change their formula, and so then you had to learn how to adjust websites again. But now with large language models, what we colloquially call AI, that's where a lot of people get their information. My understanding is, and from my own experience, we don't even click on web pages anymore. But AI
Not nearly
summary,
as much.
the AI summary is pretty much all you need when you're looking for a question. And then And so how do websites even stay relevant when that's the case of the modern internet?
Yeah, so it's a matter of adapt or die. It's that simple. Either you adapt to what's changing or your business starts to go the way of the dinosaurs. And that may sound alarmist and extreme, but let me put this into perspective. There's Google at their ads conference announced that they now are building the platform where AI will be able to see the ad. AI will go through the ad to the service provider, buy the service on behalf of the human running the AI. That's what Google is building. One piece. Stripe just announced at Stripe's conference. Stripe is basically the de facto. There's only a couple of really big players on credit card processing through the internet and via websites. Stripe announced that they're building the framework to make it easier for AIs to make purchases on behalf of humans or directly through the Stripe network. Google,
So we don't have
there's
any
rumors.
more
So
of
here's
open claw buying things on people's credit cards.
a little bit less. It'll be a little less of the Wild West and a little more structured. Google, as I understand it, is going to be offering everyone their own personal AI assistant that will deep integrate into what? Android operating system. Surprise, right? So if all of a sudden Google has an AI and Google's going to charge you, the business owner, to put your ad in front of the AI that they produced. The AI looks at the ads, chooses the one it thinks is most relevant, goes out, makes the purchase, perhaps through Stripe or another. Google's going to make their bank off from the ad revenue that Google's digital assistant, their AI assistant, is going to be doing on behalf of all the humans that jump on board of having an AI. So in the next few years,
Wait a second. I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying here. It's like, so let's say I want to buy a pair of shoes. Like I go to the LLM of my choice, and it's what's seeing, and it looks through the advertisements for shoes and picks what it thinks is the best for me and just orders them.
you got it.
And so I'm not even like searching through Amazon listings or whatever other shoe site of preference. I just
Tell it what you want. You're like, hey, I want something that's maybe a running shoe, and it knows your shoe size already. And you're like, and it says, hey, do you have any color preferences? Do you want these kinds of models? Well, I probably want to go and try something that's between a traditional and a barefoot, not straight up barefoot style shoe. It'll go do the research. It'll look. There'll be potentially ads that it will click through, or potentially organic results that it'll click through, and it will decide which would be the best shoe for you, make the purchase, and it shows up at your house.
Is the key here that Google's doing is that they're creating an ad platform that is only viewable by the large language models,
Designed for the
designed
large
to be
language
viewed by
models.
them, not by humans.
That is correct.
Which will, I suppose, work. But at the moment, I mean, there's only like 4 or 5 major large language models in existence.
Google only needs one. And Google's building Google's large language model that Google can give to everybody so that you'll use it so that they can make ad revenue when their large language model clicks their ad to buy a product on behalf of you. This is Jason conjecture, I should say. This isn't officially pronounced as this is our plan by Google or by Stripe or by anyone else. This is Jason seeing all the pieces that are coming together, building the picture of how it will come together according to Jason based on how all the pieces are very quickly getting put in place.
So that means affiliate revenue essentially is something that Google will be capturing directly through their AI versus instead of having people. But again, most affiliate sites, and as far as I've ever seen, are run by an AI anyway. So it's not like there's people involved.
Affiliates have been struggling for years. In the traditional sense of an affiliate website, they've struggled for years. And yeah, it's probably going to be much less influential. Influencers is is really the new model for people that want to make affiliate income. You have to be an influencer. You have to have attention and eyeballs focused on you, and then you can still sell that attention and eyeballs through different means, and affiliate sales is one of them. But if you're just hoping to rank organically, have someone visit your webpage, click on a link, and you get paid for it, the days of those are numbered, I would say. But going
Wow.
back to that, GEO is the process of how we can get your business into the engines so you're not having to pay for every single click, because you're influential enough in the eyes of these engines that they're going to recommend you even without needing to see an ad.
Cool. Sounds like something that is eminently relevant for anybody who uses the internet to attract customers or make sales.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Huh. And so and so how can people like really take advantage of this? Like what steps do they need to do to, I mean, because now we're problem aware. We know there's a change has happened, and and we know that there's solutions exist, but how do we figure out which solution we want to go with? And
Well,
and what the next
some
steps are?
some solutions don't even exist yet, because the problem is being built right now. And so today you can still keep doing business as you are. You won't die immediately. It's going to be a slow, painful death as your revenue declines. And so it's not something you have to jump out and buy today, but you need to be aware of it, because coming very soon is going to be a problem. And if you don't take action soon, then you'll be in the position where you're struggling instead of thriving. But really, there's multiple facets here. One is, are you going to participate in the ad network for AIs? And that isn't even fully available yet. So that one is still down the road. At some point, people will be jumping on board once Google allows you to, or other platforms allow you to, and you'll be putting your ad dollars so that LLMs and AIs can look at your ads. But immediately, and relevant today, is this idea of how do you get your business into the brain of the AI so the AI is talking about you? And it's an extension of everything that I taught in this book, because this book builds the foundation. When they went and built AIs, they essentially took a whole giant pot and they stuffed all the information into it that they could find. So literally they were buying old books and taking the binding off the books, scanning these old books, and shoving that data into this giant pot. And this giant pot is the data centers that they've built and are building. And then they tell the computer, sit and digest all of this stuff that we threw into your data center. And it just sits and stews on it. Well, if we can get our information into there at that level, that's a huge plus. That's one. But then the second level is, there's a cutoff date where they stop stuffing that pot full of data. And so sometimes originally it was like 2 years old, and then it became like 6 months old as the standard. And it, depending on a bunch of variables, the cutoff date might have been 6 months or whenever back. But then the AI knows that its data isn't fresh to today. So it goes back out to the search engines, it goes back out to the internet, and it does searches to try and figure out, who is it that I should recommend today. So it has its pot of data, but it also supplements that pot of data with what's going on today on the internet. So if your business isn't present and isn't well known and doesn't have a strong brand, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot.
I mean, it seems to me like, yes, you say that we can always keep playing the game the way we have been playing, but the overused phrase, you got to skate to where the puck's going to be instead of skating to where it is. Uh, it's like, so and I don't see why in this case, both can't be done simultaneously. I mean, I can't imagine the cost is that high of doing it versus the cost of not doing this if the internet is a key aspect of your business.
Absolutely. And again, it depends. Like, one of the big things that we're proponents of is we have different phases of business. And if you're just starting out, you may only need to go out and find one channel that you're going to get customers through. And for right now, that's good enough. But depending on if you're at base camp or maybe if you're at village, you're going to have a different answer as to whether or not you should be thinking about this, because this isn't necessarily a play for somebody who's looking for their first dollar and they're trying to prove a concept. This is a play for someone who has an established business. They're bringing in revenue. They've figured out, I've got these channels that bring in revenue all the time, but I also want to use the internet to bring in additional customers. If you're in that position, then this is absolutely critical. And a lot of what builds good search engine optimization today is things that will also build good GEO tomorrow. The trouble is, it's difficult to do that stuff, and it takes a lot of time and effort and organization. And so doing all of that SEO and all of that GEO can be wildly expensive. And there's people who are paying 4 and 5 figures every single month to try and have that service provided for them. My question was, how do we solve this using the best technology that we have? Because if you go back to good business says we take a difficult problem and we figure out a structured way of solving that problem that makes it so it's faster, easier, and cheaper to do than it's ever been done before. And that is the core concept of innovation. And so if we can innovate well enough, then we come up with a solution that the whole market's going to be begging for. And that's where my head has been down for months, digging through, analyzing, structuring, to the point that I believe our solution, when we release it to the public, is going to be like taking a fine dining experience and building the framework around it to where anyone can give you that fine dining experience. Years ago, McDonald's went bananas crazy great because everyone was like, I can get a hamburger, it's so cheap and it still tastes good. This is crazy. And people were taking, when McDonald's first came out, people were taking their prom dates to McDonald's because it was so innovative and so cool. When we can find those kinds of solutions in any business, we've got a golden opportunity. And that's what I've done in the SEO GEO world.
So yes, so I mean, so all of these needs are for established companies, people who are already in the space, or people who want to get into internet as a channel for leads and sales.
Mm-hmm.
And so the next steps, I mean, like it I mean, for me, it would be like, a lot of people might think, well, I can just do this on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's certainly possible, but I can't help but think of the benefit of division of labor, which is the core of the progress that we enjoy. It's like, we can use the ham sandwich analogy. If you want to make your own ham sandwich from scratch, you can pay $6,000, or you can pick up one for $6 from a gas station, or wherever you want to get your sandwich from. And again, for those who don't haven't heard that before, if you had to get your own seed, get your own ground, plant your own wheat, grow your own pigs, milk the cows, process the milk into cheese, and all the different parts, the yeast and the sugar and all the things that go into actually making bread. And you could even go even crazier and say, well, you also have to mine the ore to create the tools you need to be able to cook, and so on and so forth. Like, if you have to do something from scratch, it's wildly expensive. Whereas we can all specialize in our own little niche, whether you're an HVAC company, an electrician, carpet cleaning, whether you have a retail store or provide some other kind of service. We all have our specialized niches, and you can provide that value better than anybody else can who isn't specialized. and
Mhm.
and most of the time you can provide the service for somebody cheaper than they could do it for themselves while you're still making good margin. I mean, that is the fundamental basis of entrepreneurship. And so, but it sounds like you've taken something that is complicated and requires a lot of training experience and broken it down to where just about anybody can use the tool and make it work.
Absolutely. The tool literally will tell you what you should be working on this week, and it prioritizes by biggest impact to least impact of the work you should be doing. So all you have to do is after this tool's been configured and set up for your business, you go into the interface and it says, "Hey, tomorrow you're supposed to do X. Friday you're supposed to do this." And then you click it and it literally gives you the steps on how to do that item. Or it will have AI do a bunch of it, you review it and approve the work that it did. And then over here on the other side, it says, here's the biggest issues that we've discovered that are holding you back. And it, so you click on one, here's the problem, here's our fix, do you approve it? Or here's the problem, this one requires you to fix it, here's the steps to fix it. And we've broken it down into these very easy step-by-step instructions when a human has to do the work. And as often as we could, we made it so the AI does the work and you simply approve the finished product that it produced.
That sounds like something that's going to make it very, very easy for small business owners and those marketing and SEO agencies that discover this tool as well. They're going to end up providing an amazing, you probably an improved level of service with their SEO work for a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, if only SEO agencies bought this tool, their profitability would go up and their quality would go up. And I would imagine customer satisfaction will go up because of those two things. So we literally have rewritten the playbook for how to do these things and made it so easy that you don't have to be an expert in the space to still get expert results.
So before this tool goes big, it sounds like we should start a couple of different marketing agencies and just use it internally.
We certainly could. We certainly could. Maybe we should do that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'll tell you a funny related story to SEO. I decided I wanted to take over the market in a town in Arizona. Never done business with anyone in that town in Arizona a few years ago. And so I started producing the right content and doing the right things so that my business would show up there. And all of a sudden I started getting phone calls from people in this town in Arizona or this city. And one phone call in particular cracked me up better than any other. They call up, "Hey, do you do SEO?" I was like, "Well, you found me on the search engines, didn't you?" "Yeah, you were like the first guy. Perfect. Well, can you come to my office and talk about it?" I was like, "Well, I could, but it'd cost a lot because I'm in Boise, Idaho." "Oh, well, I want someone local." And I was like, "Well, if you want someone local, look at page 2 because I own page 1. Sorry." I'm like, do you want someone local or do you want someone that's going to give you results, right? Like you can pick, but which one do you really
Yeah,
want as a business owner?
yeah, that is especially. I mean, and maybe if that was a story from 10 years ago, that would I can see more people along that line. But nowadays, like remote work is much more tolerated, even expected in many cases.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I can't imagine that's much of an issue anymore.
No, that was just a couple of years ago.
Well,
So
okay.
they wanted someone local. They didn't want results. They wanted local.
Huh. Wow. Well, so things are changing, but the adaptation to those changes is already here. And
Yes.
so you just need to be aware of what the solutions are, and then do it. I mean, like it sounds like you've made it very very simple. At least once the tool is launched, which we'll be excited to hear when it's available.
Yeah,
I
and
understand your
we're
team is going
planning
very,
to
very
do
well.
a bit of a soft launch in August. So if people are interested in getting in at the ground floor of this, they should definitely reach out to me because this is going to be a game changer. I've never built anything that I'm this excited about in the software world, and I've been programming since I was like 12.
Cool. Well, that is, so one thing I just want to point out, like, you've been doing this long enough of the phases with your own business that now you're at the level where you need to launch another product in order to continue to grow. At least you have the management
Uh,
capacity to be able to do so,
yeah,
because
that's a better way of saying it. I didn't need
you
to
didn't
launch a
need
new
to.
product to
Yes,
grow, but it became a viable option because I had leveled up my business through the phases of business.
because because you working on this takes nothing away from your existing offerings.
Right.
And so as long as they're able to continue to improve on their own, it gives you that freedom to be able to either pour back into them or to add another product and stream of revenue. Whereas if you had tried to do this, even 5 years ago, when you were still super critical to your main product delivery, you would have not only tanked your core offer, but this never would have gotten off the ground.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I
And
think every entrepreneur has been there where they get excited about something, they start chasing the new direction just to realize, wait, no, I've got to turn around and get back to my main business because it's failing now. And when you don't walk through all of the proper functions of business, getting them up to the right phase, that's what happens is your business collapses. But when you do it the right way, it gives you that time that you can do these other things.
And it's really just to point out that we often, as entrepreneurs, we often get bored with what we're doing, even though it's working. And so we look for that new problem. We look for that new challenge. We look for that new thing. And if we have the standards in place to keep our core growing without us, if we've achieved that level of freedom of business, then we're good to do that. But if we haven't yet and we're just bored and we're looking for something else, all we're doing is sabotaging ourselves and creating more issues that, I mean, yeah, we are creating problems for ourselves to solve, but we're not getting a new level of freedom along with that.
Yeah. Yeah, those new problems, they are not something anybody wants.
So anyway, I just really wanted to point that out, that anybody who is excited about doing this and wants to follow and do something similar, um, in any industry, you know, in adding that new service, you really are not um, degrading the quality of your current core offering as you add new things on. You have to build the standards. You have to have every function to standards so that you have the freedom of choice to do that.
Exactly. Yep.
So, okay, well, thank you, Jason.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we're out of time. So see you again next week.
Bye.